Right now, we want you to meet our guest here in the Curfew Club this evening, a fabled lady of song who's been putting things down on wax for years that have been treasured collector's items in a lot of homes, in our home, among others. And so it's a distinct pleasure to say hello this evening here in the Curfew Club to Billie Holiday. Hello, Billie.
Hello.
You're here in San Francisco for, let's see, after an absence of a number of years. You were here before at the old Club Savoy, which is no longer among those present, I seem to remember.
Yes, I was. I was at the Savoy for 12 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That was 4 years ago.
That's right. And now you're finally back here, and you're at the Cafe Society, uptown on Fillmore Street. You're going to stay quite a while, aren't you?
I think so. I hope so.
Well, I think something like 4 weeks altogether, yeah.
That's right.
That's fine. That's quite a thing because the operators up there are booking most people in on a 2-week basis, but they're booking you in for 4 weeks.
Yes, I'm quite pleased and flattered.
And you have some fine background up there, too. Red Norvo and his group are backing you up.
Yes, we worked in L.A. together. We just closed there, and I think we're going to be together a while.
Well, that's fine. His type of light background suits your vocal
Very
styling
much.
very well. And say, I was up there last Sunday night and caught the midnight show. Haven't you got a fine piano man of your own that you bring in there?
Yes, he goes everywhere with me. Bobby's been with me 4 years. His name is Bobby Tucker, and I don't think he'll ever get known because he's so bashful and he doesn't drink and he doesn't talk. But I think he's a very great musician, and he writes very well also. He makes most of my backgrounds.
Oh, he does. Well, I met him Sunday night up there, and he didn't say a word about that. Like you said, he's very, very bashful. But my wife and I both remarked on the wonderful backgrounds that was coming out of that piano there. We didn't see the switch, you see, being made in the piano players. And this was so wonderful. You have got yourself a
Yeah,
fine
he
man
wrote
there,
most of the stuff that Red and the boys play, too.
Oh, well, double threat man there. Mighty handy fellow to have around, Billie.
Yes, he is.
But let's get around to talking about you and, well, for instance, what you're singing these days. I don't know. I have a list of a lot of your records home, and the tunes go into the hundreds. And there must be quite a little job to figure out of the hundreds of records that you've made just which ones you're going to keep in your current repertoire, what you're going to sing when you come into a town. Just what tunes are you featuring right now, Billie?
Well, I try to do things that people like, and I wait for requests. But now the most requests I get, it seems I can never get away from them, their eyes. I've been trying to stop singing it for 5 years.
No,
and it's
Billie.
always somebody says, them, their eyes. Finding Mellon's Little Blues and Billy's Blues that I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And I never like to sing my own tunes, but there's always somebody there that says, Finding Mellon, or God Bless the Child.
Uh-huh.
I love a man I will never lose.
That you never will lose. Yes, I know that night that we were there, somebody said Fine and Mellow, so you were singing that one. We played it last week here, and we were...
And now I'm featuring a tune that I just recorded for Decker, and it's called Weep No More.
Oh, that's a new
It's
one.
a pop, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, since the band has been left, I just made some records for Decker, and I made Porgy. It's from Porgy and Bess, but you won't recognize it because I don't sing it anything like they did in the play.
Uh-huh.
And I also put a middle to it.
Oh.
You know, in the play, the choir sort of hums the middle.
That's right.
Well, I just sort of put a middle. I hope Gershwin doesn't mind.
Uh-huh. Did you dream it up by yourself, Billie, this
Well,
morning?
I just love his music so much. And I always wanted to sing that, Oh, My Man's Gone Now. So My Man's Gone Now was just a little too much for me, and I couldn't put no middle of that. So I sort of stuck a little tag in the middle of Porgy, and I did Oh, My Man, I Love Him So. You remember that? My Man is the title. And then I did a song, it's called Boys Were Made to Take Care of Girls.
Oh, that's a new pop tune, too. That's been going
Yes.
very well. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that Weep No More is from along Fifth Avenue. Gordon Jenkins, which is a friend of mine, wrote it for me in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And something happened, I don't know, agents in business. I was supposed to be in the play, and something happened. I didn't get in it.
Well, you got
So
to make the
I
record.
finally got to make the song anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, fine. Well, now we know all about the new sides that we can look forward to a Billie Holiday there for Decca, of course, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
For Decca. You've made lots of wonderful records. Can you remember way back to the very first one you made? I was looking through a discography the other day and checking up on you, Billy, checking up on you here. Of course, these things aren't always accurate. You know the one I mean. It was put together in France, this Charles Delaunay and his new hot discography. Oh, that's news to you, is it?
Yes, it is.
Well, anyway, it seems, Billy, that over in France, you probably know this, they're really more interested in American music than we here in America are. At least they go to the trouble over there of trying to collect all this information about who did what and when and so forth. And so they have this new thing out, and you look in the back in there and look up under Billie Holiday, and it shows you the sides that you made with Teddy Wilson and Benny Goodman and Artie Shaw, and then of course, all the sides you made under your own name. And, gee, you've been making all kinds of records that go way back, and there's some wonderful things in
Please, you're going to tell my age in a minute.
No, we won't, Billy. But if anybody wants to find out, they can go out and digging up those records. But talking about, as you did a moment ago, about that Them There Eyes, that goes back a ways. Wasn't that done? Wasn't Teddy Wilson on that date? Was that one of those Teddy Wilson?
No, that was after I started making my own records. That was a Vocalion.
Mm-hmm.
But you asked me just now about my first recording. The first record I made, I was about 13, and you could never guess who was on the piano. Buck from Buck and Bubbles.
Oh, yes.
And it was Benny Goodman's band, but he didn't really have a band then. He was working in studio work. And he got a group of studio men together and made this session. And I was scared to death. I didn't want to sing in the mic. I just wanted to sing, period.
I see.
I was scared to death of the mic.
And what was...
And the tune was called Your Mother's Son-in-Law and
Oh,
Tapping the Barrel. It was an old Columbia.
That's right. You know, they reissued that recently on that special editions. That special editions label. And now the special editions, which was some sort of a subsidiary of Columbia or somebody, has decided to stop making special editions. So now what was originally brought out to sort of alleviate this shortage and to bring down the high price of these collector's items, now that's a collector's item too, because you can't buy that now.
Oh,
Great
goodness.
thing. That's what they tell me.
Well, I wish they wouldn't do it at all, because I sound like I'm about 3 years old on it.
Oh, that's one I bet that Benny Goodman doesn't remember about. That really goes back a ways. But, gee, you have some fine things that you did for the Vocalion and the Brunswick labels, and a lot of those tunes, I imagine you get a lot of requests for today. I noticed that you were the vocalist in the first sides that Teddy Wilson cut under his own name.
Yes, I
And
was.
that very first session turned out some fine things, what a little moonlight can do.
Yes, If You Were Mine, Miss Brown to You, when you're smiling, I could go on for hours.
You still do Miss Brown to You, because you did it
Yeah,
that night.
I'll always like that.
Uh-huh. How about do you still do the What a Little Moonlight Can Do?
Yes, I do, but Bobby and I fight about it because it's so fast, and if the piano just isn't right, and he doesn't want to play it.
Oh, me, all kinds of difficulties. Lately, you've been associated more in these records that you made just before the band with slower tunes, definitely the kind of thing you want to listen to with the lights turned down low
more
and
moods.
everything. Yes, moody
Tunes.
things here like that. The fine thing that Tutti Camerata wrote, No More,
Yes.
and all that sort of thing. But I imagine that in that last session you did, there are some up tunes in there, aren't there? Girls Were Made to Take Care
Yes,
of Boys, and
yes.
that other one?
By the way, I had voices on that.
Voices? What kind of
Yeah,
voices?
first time I ever sang with voices.
Oh?
Well, it was about 6 voices. I'd, exactly 6 voices and 4 rhythm.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're giving you real Hollywood production back of you, Billy.